Hey guys, today, how are you? And today, we're going to be doing a Tenyi test hand and deck profile. So without further ado, let's get into this. So we start by activating Flawless Protection of the Tenyi. Then we can activate the effect of one of our Tenyis in the hand to special summon it, since we control no effect monsters. Now we link away that Tenyi into Monk. Monk is the centerpiece of this. Now we activate Vessel for the Dragon Cycle, send Meme, and add a Tenyi to our hand. Let's see, we already have Atara and Vishuddha, so we can get... And we've already used Ashuna, so maybe either Shathana or Nahata. I'll get Shathana. Now we can banish Ashuna from the graveyard to special summon a Tenyi from our deck. I'll get Mapora. Because then Mapora lets us link into Shaman. Then we can activate Shaman, discard Shathana to get our copy of the Meme to the field. Activate Meme, lower its level, special summon the token. We can do that 3 times. Lower level, special summon token. Lower level, special summon token. I love that effect. Now with these tokens we have a lot of options. We can either go into our copy of Yazi for the Synchro. We can go into our copy of Draco Masters, Berserker, or Saharasa. I'm going to go into Saharasa. Because Saharasa can get tokens out. I am also going to activate the effects of that to recycle that. And ideally we want another level 4 on the field so we can go into Baguska, but oh well. Now we end our turn. Now Saharasa would, during their turn, would let us summon an attack token equal to one of the attack of their monsters. But since we can't, because they have no monsters, let's just get on to our other turn. We can activate Heavenly Dragon Circle, tribute the Meme token, I'm gonna add Nahata. Oh wait, yeah, I can special summon it. I'm gonna special summon Nahata, negate its effects, and I'm only gonna special summon Nahata because we can go into Baguska to screw over our opponent. But that means it doesn't really screw us over, but it screws over our opponent. Now we attack. Normally we would have the token would be in defense position, so yeah. You're only going to be attacking with your link monsters mainly anyway, so Baguska's not really going to do any harm to us. But we have to detach materials, which sucks. Whatever you do not want to normal summon the higher level Tenyis. Also, you would have been able to activate Vishuda to return monsters to the hand, and Ashuna. Oh wait, no, because I don't control a non-attack monster. Never mind. Now I can activate Pot of Avarice. We run Pot of Avarice to recycle the monks because we run out of monks very often. If you don't recycle them. Now we can set Fists of the Unrivaled Tenyi. I'll set 2 of them. This acts as negation, and if it's destroyed, you can special summon your copy of Blue Eyes White Ultimate Dragon from the extra deck. So now I just say we attack for game. Okay, let's do another test hand. Now this is not good at all. This is one of the deck's few bricks. Okay, now this is better. So we activate Pot of Desires. Then we set Waterfall of Dragon Souls, Fists of the Unrivaled Tenyi. Then we activate Tenyi Spirit Mapora. Link it away into Monk. And yeah, that's not a good. That wasn't a good hand. Now your monk would normally be destroyed by now. Now we can chain Waterfall to Dragon Souls to search a worm type monster. I'm gonna search Vishuda. We activate Vishuda. We can link. Now since we don't have Meme in the graveyard, we can use Shaman or Shaman for link climbing. Discard Heavenly Dragon Circle. Banish Heavenly Dragon Circle. Add Atara to our hand. Because we can then normal summon our Atara, because we still have our normal summon, to go into our copy of Saharasa. And then, yeah. So we'd get the attack position token. And then normally this would be game, because we'd have the attack position token as well. So I'm just going to exit and get onto the deck profile. So we run 2 copies of Meme, because Meme gives us tokens that we can link away, and it's also a tuner, so we can go into our synchros easier. It's not the only tuner, but it's one of the only tuners that we run. And it cannot be special summoned except by the effect of a worm type monster, so people can't monster reborn your Meme, for example, which is brilliant. Also, we run 3 copies of we basically run 3 copies of every Tenyi monster except Nahata. They all have different effects. They all have the effect of if you control no effect monsters, you can special summon it from your hand, but they have different banish effects. Ashuna, if you control a face-up non-effect monster, you can banish this card from your hand or graveyard to special summon one Tenyi monster from your deck, except itself. Vishuda, it has the once per turn effect of if you control a face-up non-effect monster, you can target one card your opponent controls and return it to the hand, which is insanely good, because if you chain that with Dark Ruler No More, and they have a Dragoon, Dark Ruler No More, Vishuda, get rid of the Dragoon. Most people only run one Red Eyes and Dark Magician anyway, so you basically stopped them from using that Dragoon again. 2 Nahatas. Nahata has the vanish effect of when an attack is declared involving your non-effect monster and opponent's face-up monster, you can banish it, and that monster loses 1,500 attack until the end of this turn. Your opponent's monster does, not your monster, otherwise that would be a bad effect. There are 3 Mapuras. Mapura, you can, when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a face-up non-effect monster, you can banish it from your hand or graveyard and negate the activation. And if you do, destroy it, which is insanely powerful. We run 3 copies of Shathana. Shathana, if a face-up non-effect monster gets destroyed, say they destroy our Berserker, we can banish this from our hand or graveyard to special summon it back and pop a monster on the field, which is basically saying, no your monster gets destroyed, screw you. We run 2 copies of Ash Blossom because the Tenyis are essentially hand traps anyway, so we don't need that many hand traps. So I think 2 is acceptable for this sort of deck. We run 3 copies of Tenyi Spirited Hara, which is the second tuner we run, and you can, if you control a face-up non-effect monster, you can banish this card from your hand or graveyard, and then target one of your banished worm monsters and add it to your hand, which I suppose is quite good. We run 2 copies of Pot of Desires. We only need 2 because most of the time if you run 3 you'll most likely join into another Desires, so we run 2. We run Dark Ruler No More to get rid of anything that we don't like on their field, say like a Dragoon or a Doom King Bailodroch or something. So yeah, we run 3 copies of Vessel for the Dragon Cycle, which lets us send 1 worm monster from our deck to the graveyard. Then if we control a face-up non-effect monster, we can add it. We can add 1 Tenyi monster with a different name from the monster sent to our hand. We run 2 copies of Pot of Avarice because we run out of monks very quickly and we need monks to make essentially all of our link plays. Say Berserker 2+ monsters including a link monster, meaning that you need monk. We run 1 copy of Cold by the Grave because who likes hand traps, am I right? We run 3 copies of Dragon Cycles. We run 3 copies of Heavenly Dragon Circle. I was reading the OCG name. Where you contribute 1 worm monster and add 1 worm monster from your deck to your hand. Or if you tributed a non-effect monster, you can special summon it but negate its effects. And during your main phase, if you control a face-up non-effect monster, you can banish it from the graveyard to add 1 Tenyi card from your deck to your hand. We run 2 copies of Flawless Protection. Flawless Protection is essentially the field spell. Well, it is the field spell of the deck. And it protects all non-effect monsters from monster effects, and once per turn, if your opponent special summons an effect monster while you control a face-down monster or a non-effect monster, except during the damage step, you can draw 2 cards. So we run 6 cards that let us draw, which is good. We run Waterfall of Dragon Souls, which either searches worm-type monsters or it's a draw card. Then we run Fists. Fists is a negation for basically every effect if you control a non-effect monster. And if it is destroyed and sent to the graveyard from the Spawn Trap Zone, you can special summon one non-effect monster from your extra deck. That goes into our copy of Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Speaking of Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, let's get on to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we have one Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, one Borreload Savage Dragon. Borreload Savage Dragon, just in case worst comes to worst and all our good links in the graveyard. Now this and Ball Sword are the two most expensive cards of the deck. It's under still under $50, so it's extremely budget. We run one Draco Berserker. Draco Berserker, if your opponent activates a monster effect, you can banish it, and if it destroys an effect monster by battle and sends it to graveyard, it gains attack equal to the destroyed monster's original attack, and it can make a second attack on a monster during the battle phase. So it's a beat stick banisher, basically. We own one copy of Yazi. Yazi, we only use its secondary effect, and that's when it's destroyed by battle or card effect. We can special summon one type monster from our deck in defense position. Most of the time you'll be using Meme to go into Yazi, and then Yazi gets destroyed, and then you special summon another Meme. Most of the time. We run one copy of Baguska to screw over our opponent. We run one copy of Tenyi Spirit Saharasa. It's the boss monster of the deck, and while you control a face-up non-effect monsters your opponents control cannot target effect monsters for attacks. Also, your opponent cannot target effect monsters on the field with card effects, and you can target one effect monster your opponent controls. Special summon one Tenyi Spirit token. It's level 4, and its attack becomes that of the targeted monster's original attack, and you can only use its effect once per turn. We own one copy of Boral Sword. Boral Sword, after the reprint, has actually gone down significantly in price. It's gone down to like $15, which is not bad at all. You should know what Boral Sword does by now. We own one copy of Berserker. Berserker's just a beat stick. That's all there is to it. We own one copy of Draco Masters of the Tenyi. It cannot be destroyed by battle with an effect monster, and if you control no other effect monsters, you can destroy effect monsters your opponent controls up to the number of non-effect monsters you control and /or in your graveyard. So it's essentially an access code. You can run access code instead of Balls or Dragon, but access code isn't cheap, so yeah, access code's quite expensive actually. We run 2 copies of Shaman of the Tenyi. Shaman lets us discard a card and target one worm on our graveyard and special summon it, so it can either be used for link climbing or token spam for Meme. Also, when an attack is declared involving your face-up non-effect monster, you can target one card your opponent controls and destroy it, which is good. We run 1 copy of Defender of the Labyrinth. Non-effect monsters you control gain 500 attack. Also, effect monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack. And if this card is destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you can target one non-effect monster in your graveyard and special summon it. But you need 2 normal monsters. So you will most likely need like a monk and a berserker to go into that. That is just... You can substitute that out for something else, I don't mind. Well, I don't care, it's your deck. But I decided to run that because it's normal monster support, I guess. Then you run 3 monks. Monk is the main combo piece of the deck because you need monk to go into basically every other link. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed my Tenyi deck profile. And that being said, without further ado, stay safe and I'll see you next time.